Robert, you can hear me okay?
Yes, good morning, Sean. How are you?
Good to talk to you. First up, were you surprised by this?
Yes. The reason I was surprised was because New Zealand had twice supported resolutions in the UN General Assembly and calling for an immediate humanitarian truce in Gaza. The first was on the 27th of October.
I just want to back up the bus there. What's this got to do with Gaza?
Gaza?
No,
resolutions...
Well, I'm talking about the Houthis. The Houthis, our decision to send people to fight the Houthis.
Yes, well, you asked me why should we be surprised, and I'm explaining why we're surprised.
Yeah.
Because we twice supported resolutions, in fact co-sponsored one of them, that demanded an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. And the reason I'm surprised is that given our track record, we're now saying there's no linkage between the Houthi attacks and what happened in Gaza, whereas the conventional wisdom, which New Zealand supported, was right from the outset, once it became apparent that the Israeli response was going beyond humanitarian law and was disproportionate in the eyes of many. Once that became apparent within about the first week after the appalling terrorist attacks on the 7th of October in Israel, once that became apparent, many people feared that this conflict had the potential to spread. But we're now being told, although the conflict has spread, it's got nothing to do with Gaza. And that is what many people are skeptical about. And the government yesterday said that, basically Houthi attacks, or they strongly implied that Houthi attacks on commercial shipping that's perceived to be linked to Israel, those attacks have nothing to do or little to do with New Zealand's stance regarding the Gaza conflict. And that's something that many people are finding difficult to get their head around at the moment.
All right. Okay. Which people?
Sorry?
Which people are finding it difficult to get their heads around that?
I think many people who've been demanding a ceasefire, 160 countries in the UN General Assembly on the 13th of December, of which we were one. We were the only member of the Five Eyes, by the way, to vote for the resolution demanding an immediate ceasefire on the 27th of October last year.
Yeah.
So, look, let's be quite clear, Sean. There's clearly a linkage, in my view, and I explain why. The reason why the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza is inflaming passions in the Middle East is not just because of the conflict between Israel and the Arab states, which goes back decades. It's also because there are tensions between Arab states and non-Arab states, such as Iran. It was always likely that if this conflict in Gaza continued to spiral in the way that it has, with dreadful consequences, that Iran and its allies would seek to take advantage of that. We shouldn't forget.
So look, in the old parlance, is this essentially a proxy war, the Houthi conflict? They are Iran.
Iran and its allies are not deeply, in my view, deeply concerned about the plight of the Palestinian people, but they're using that issue. They're exploiting that grievance. They shouldn't be given that opportunity to exploit this.
Yeah.
The United States handed Iran and its allies and other authoritarian states a strategic windfall by supporting unconditionally the Israeli response to the terrorist attack on the 7th of October.
Okay, let's look then at the practicalities of this deployment. And as is so often the case in these things, it's also secret. They can't even tell us what branch of the service these people are from. What I got from yesterday was, and I will talk to the two ministers concerned further live on the program this morning, 6 people who will be involved in targeting but will not be boots on the ground in any foreign in a hostile territory. They won't be sending people into Yemen because, of course, one can only speculate in a vacuum of information, Robert, and you might thought SAS people pointing lasers at stuff. It seems more likely from the tenor of the conversation I heard, these are people who can analyse data and help with targeting of missiles and stuff and mission preparation, right?
Mm-hmm. My information is not much better than yours on that. It's a little bit mysterious. I read the statement from the government, and my inferences were not too different from yours.
Yeah.
It seems to me that we're sending 6 military NZDF personnel who've pretty skilled in logistics and coordination and targeting, and will be part, obviously, of an integrated team.
Yeah, we say the integrated team. Who's in command here? Because everything I've read in the media says that this is coming out of US Central Command, that essentially this is an American operation in all but name.
I would assume so.
Okay,
because
so
the United
troops
States
are our people under American command, effectively. And I asked for clarification on this yesterday, didn't get it.
The United States blocked the resolutions that New Zealand was diplomatically pushing in the UN, so there's a bit of a tension there. But I suppose the government is now taking the view that, look, to be clear, to be fair to the government, Sean, it has been a long-standing position that New Zealand should maintain maritime security, whether it be in the Red Sea or anywhere else.
And we've already got a dozen people in the region from the Navy helping with the naval
since 2013.
So with the naval task force there.
Yeah, I mean, and why have we got them there? Because New Zealand believes in an international rules-based order. We're a small actor, but we depend critically on our international.
And this was what the government emphasised yesterday, that we're keeping trade routes open. We are stopping millions of people being negatively affected by major supply chain issues. And that seems to have some logic to it.
Yeah, that has absolute logic to it. But what is slightly illogical is that we're compartmentalising our concern for the international rules-based order. We're not applying it to the Gaza conflict, apparently.
Well, no one's been found guilty of war crimes there yet. The Hamas committed war crimes, and I think some of the retaliation that's occurred has certainly stretched humanitarian law. Okay, all right, but we haven't got the jury's out, literally, on that still, isn't it?
No, but from a New Zealand point of view, we believe in not just the status quo. We actually want to see the veto abolished in the Security Council. It's been a long-standing position since Peter Fraser. And national and Labour-led governments are taking that position.
Yeah,
we don't benefit from the veto.
Yeah.
We actually benefit from an international order that's based more on rules, not less.
Yeah.
And therefore, we have no business about seeing a conflict descend into a lawless state in Gaza, in which large numbers of people, which had nothing to do with a terrorist incident, are killed.